Okay, checking connection. Cool. I'm now live. Let me just crack this bad boy open. Hi, guys. Welcome for anyone who's watching. I don't know who's watching right now. I don't think there's many people watching. Thought I'd jump on Sunday night. I'm across 3 different platforms. It's always interesting. I'm waiting for someone to just jump on this live and watch me. It's so weird. I feel like a creep. I'm just waiting for people to watch me. Just watch me, please. I've got a couple of people on YouTube. Hi. I'm across a few different platforms, so depends where I'm pointing. I've got different things. So I just thought I'd just jump on, as I usually do once a week, and just answer any questions people may have. I don't know if the ones on YouTube can actually answer me questions, ask me questions or whatnot, or maybe they can. I don't know. I don't really use YouTube. I don't really use any of these things. So, but yeah, I thought I'd just jump on, have a chat, answer some questions for people. It's been an interesting week. I put up a post about owning properties on Greek islands, which Greek islands I thought were obviously worth the money, and that thing just blew up. Apparently, everyone wants to know which islands to go to this summer. Which I am a strong believer of the Zakynthos. Extremely strong believer of the Zakynthos. I still believe that it's the one island that hasn't really taken off yet. I mean, it has amongst the Greek circles and the people in the know, but not worldwide like it is with Mykonos and Santorini and all those other things. I still think so. I had a look last night at. I think I found a 80 square meter, 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house right in the heart of the main town, on ground floor for 75,000, 80,000 euro, which is insane. I mean, to own that a stone's throw away from those beaches at that price currently. As I mentioned, this is an island that during a fucking global pandemic had 2 million people come onto its shores, and it still hasn't blown up. It still baffles me. It absolutely blows my mind. But it's good to see that there is still progress in Greece, and that there are still opportunities on some very beautiful Greek islands, and that doesn't have to be Mykonos and Santorini and else, or, even Crete. Crete was obviously top the list. I was very surprised. Crete did over 70% market growth in the last 5 years. So that's astonishing in itself. I mean, I don't even think Crete really got affected. I mean, the world got affected, but Crete obviously stood itself up during COVID and the GFC and all that kind of stuff. But Crete's a country on its own, man. It's 500,000 people. It's a very, very tiny, small country. They've basically got their own borderline economy as it is. Hi to everyone who's joining in. It's always weird when I say people join up and watch me. I'm like, oh, people are watching me. If you have any questions, fire them away. This is what I jump on here once a week to try and sort of answer people's questions. Hi, Abby. Just to see what, people need help with, or if there are certain questions that I'm not really answering. How'd you start above without 1,000 followers? I don't know. I don't even know what that means. What do you mean? How did I start above? I don't know what you mean. Honestly, I'm so terrible with social media. I think, live. I don't know. TikTok just was like, you're doing your videos are going gangbusters. You're allowed to go live now. Which, I thought you needed to have 1,000 people, but followers. But I can monetize this thing, which is scary. So I don't know. Sorry, you're asking the wrong guy, dude. I'm nearly 40, Abby. I have no idea what's going on. I'm surprised I've even faced the camera the right way. Ask me about Great Property. I'll tell you what you need to know. Ask me about TikTok. I don't even have hair there to stop it. It's gone. But sorry. I don't know what to say. But Greek properties in Greece, on the Greek islands. I'm very interested to see. I'd love to go to Zante again this year and have a proper look, because I dare say that's where I'd be. Send a request to be in your live video. I'd rather not. So I don't even know. Look, all these people that have sent me a request to be in my live video, I really don't know what to do there, and I'm just not going to do it, because I really don't want to have someone's PP come out and then my shit gets shut down. Why does everyone want to go live? I don't get it. Greg, yeah. Any other questions or anything in particular that people need answering, or are people just trying to jump on here and go live with me? Which I'm honored, I think. I don't know. Had an interesting conversation about taxes as well. Would you recommend buying in Greece without having a house in Australia? Hi, me. I don't own property in Australia. I'm not touching Australia. Not that I can't, but I was tossing up. Perfect. I can start it here. So the way I bought was I pulled out a $40,000 loan in 2017, somewhere around there, 2018, because I wanted to buy property. I didn't really want to buy in Australia. I was tossing and turning, and then I looked at the figures and I realized that I could make a lot more. I could stretch that 40K out a lot further in Greece than what I could in Australia. And so I just found your channel now. It's really interesting. Thank you. No, that's fine, man. Don't apologize. How dare you find my channel just now and watch? Don't you know who I am? No, so basically, I realized I could stretch out 40K a lot further in Greece than I could in Australia. I'm not saying that buying property in Australia is bad. By all means, if you can do it, go nuts. But for my situation and my position where I was at, I felt like I would lock myself down for 30 years on a mortgage that would essentially tie me into a place that really wasn't my dream home, because realistically, I'd probably afford an apartment, right? And it's not where I want to live. So I would effectively be locked into that. And it would be just a harder slog. But Greece's return has been insane. And I bought my first apartment, as I said, with a $40,000 personal loan that I just got out of ANZ and pumped the money across there. I bought the place. I think the place effectively cost me 32,000. It was 19,000 euro with signed documents and everything. 19, maybe 19 and a half, but essentially 19,000 euro. It's 48 square meters, just outside of the heart of Thessaloniki. If you know Thessaloniki, it's right near the train station. It's I'm from Abelokipo, so I bought there essentially. And I pumped maybe 10,000 euro into it to just really do it up. Firstly, it hasn't remained empty for longer than I needed it to remain empty to obviously do renovations, which were a few months here and there. I've had it on cheap rent for about 300 euro for the last 4 years, let's just say, excluding a couple of months or whatever. So ever since I've had it, but then let's minus a few, whatever. The market price for that thing, rental wise, has gone up to about 430, 440. And the market value of the property, if I was to sell it, has jumped up to about 65. I think it's sitting at the moment, roughly. So from 19,000, let's just call it 30, which it hasn't been 11,000 euro. But let's just call it 30 to even it out, that I've dumped in it, plus all the money that I've made back through rent and the market growth. The thing's paid itself off, So I then started doing that more and more, and that's sort of how I started buying property in Greece and I don't own anything in Australia, and not that I wouldn't, I don't know anything that's returning 11% return on investment off $40,000. If I find it, I would absolutely do it. Why wouldn't you do it? But I found it a lot easier, and the process was easy. It was safe. I didn't have an issue. It was my first time around. I had my parents there as well. And then from there, I made the connections with the agents, the builder, with the person who renovated, with my lawyer, with my accountant, with like everything. And then it happened again. It's happened just last year. I'm going back now in July to renovate that same place again. It just needs a spruiking up. I'm kicking out that tenant from 3 years ago. Going to paint it. I think I might even reseal the roof just for something, just to upkeep. Nothing, like it doesn't even need it. It's just sealing paint that you do, because the thing is, the apartment's on the top floor, so it's just always good to just reseal it for 200-300 euro, whatever it is. The paint is small amounts like that, and then up the rent to whatever it is, the going rate, 430, 440, whatever it is. I generally like to lease my properties out with No. Sorry, Alicia. No. I generally like to rent my properties out furnished. I've just found that it's a lot easier to rent out smaller properties furnished than it is to let people go in there. But I also give them the option, like, I might, but I've always wanted to own in Greece. You can. I literally having 40K and looking to buy a house in Melbourne, but I've always wanted to own in Greece. Yanni, let's chat. Let's chat. Listen, the prices have changed. You're not going to buy an apartment that's. I mean, you might buy an apartment that size for 40K, but it's not. If it is anywhere in the big cities, it's going to be um, close to rubble. But you can still find. Depends. Apartments not so much for 40K Oz, which is essentially what 27,000 euro. You can still find things that are going to make you a return on that investment, but then they might not necessarily be an apartment. They might be a shop that you can then convert into a studio, or they might be a little studio as well, or whatever. The other thing that people are staying clear of, which I've always found interesting, but it's something I've really kept an eye on, and I want to see how it's going to go down. Ipoya, which are the basements. You've got semi-basements and full basements. Now, my mum said this to me because my parents live in Greece. Well, my dad passed away last year, but they've been there for 20 odd years. They moved back. Mum was like, "Look, you got to be careful about basements because obviously the issue with basements that I've noticed a lot is firstly it's plumbing. You're not going to be able to get plumbing down there. It's very hard to get plumbing. If there isn't anything already set up, then you've got to figure out a way to literally pump that out. The second thing is above you probably got plumbing of other people's, sewage and whatnot coming through as well, which you can cover up and get around that as well. But they're the only two things. The third thing would be water leakage. If it's raining, if it's not sealed off properly, and water kind of comes down the stairs and stuff like that. And then obviously the other main thing is people just sort of being able to look into your apartment. And also break the windows and break into the apartment, which in Greece, I'm pretty sure it's illegal in Australia, but in Greece they have gangula, sidera, like what's it called, metal bars on the window, which here I'm pretty sure is a fire hazard. I don't think you're allowed to have that because of in case of a fire, but also it's less prone that someone's going to smash your window here and break in. In Greece, it kind of seems to happen, but they've got shutters and all that kind of stuff. You can work around it, but the thing is they're dirt cheap. They're dirt cheap, and someone's going to need these properties, and they're everywhere in the heart of Athens, in Thessaloniki. They're everywhere, and you'll find them. They're huge places for 20,000 euro, and I'm talking like 170 square meters. I remember I was looking at one, maybe last year because I bought something else instead, and it was in the heart of the city. And it was just this huge open space in the heart of the city. It was obviously a basement, but there was no sewage. There was no water. There was no anything like that. And it was going for dirt cheap. 25 or something. I can't remember, but it was somewhere around there. It wasn't anything much more than that. And I was umming and ahhing about buying it. Now, the thing is, buying something like that is a very specific kind of thing that you're buying it for, because realistically, you need some kind of plumbing there. Or other than that, it's either going to become storage, which a lot of these basements were. That's how they sort of started. A lot of the buildings would have apartments above them, shops underneath. People shops didn't do well. People turned shops into studios, whatever. But what would happen is they'd have a basement underneath that would facilitate the shop. So old mate had a tire shop, keep his tires in the basement. And that's how they did it. So eventually they would sell them off. They would be like, no, we want to splice up the apartment and whatever, and da-da-da-da. Basements are left behind. Most you can live in. Some you can't. And it's those some that you can't where there's got to be a need for them somewhere down the track, because it's space. It's big space in the heart of the city, Athens, Thessaloniki, whatever it is, that's doing nothing and just sitting there and going for dirt cheap. Hi, Danny. But yeah, so that's one thing that I've always sort of been interested in, maybe toying around with the idea of purchasing one and seeing but I don't know what I could do with it. Like I thought, maybe a yoga studio or like an art studio or something like that. But then you need toilets, you need something, you need water, you need, I don't know what to do, but yeah. You've got a flash goal. I don't even know what these things are, man. Leave me alone, TikTok. Anyone have any questions? Anyone need anything? What about islands? Are they untouchable? No, absolutely not. Mate, there's a video. You just found my page as well. I just posted a video 2 days ago, which is the top 5 islands that I think, that I know have done some amazing market growth over the last 5 years. And number one, the top one is Crete, untouchable, 70% increase. But then there's other smaller islands as well. You don't need, you don't, when people hear islands, it's Mykonos and Santorini, Eos, whatever. But there are a whole lot of the smaller islands that are, I just got a notification on that. A lot of smaller islands that are accessible that are gorgeous, that are popular within Greece, but not really popular amongst the rest of the world. So, for argument's sake, like Kalimnos, I was in Kalimnos last year, which is absolutely stunning. It's where the natural sea sponges grow, and they sell them there. So that island is absolutely amazing. And again, it's like most are. There's a big mountain, and they're all sort of built on the top of the cliff of the hill face, and then you got the water and whatnot. And I remember having a look in Spitogato at this one place in Galimo, and they had all the photos and whatnot. And one photo was like from the back of the room, looking outwards through the door, and you could just see water. And then it showed the exterior, and you could just see the whole side of the face, like it was just sitting here. The house was here, and you could see the rest of the caldera or whatever it's called, that's tower, and then the port in front of you. And it's like it was 90,000 euro for, and they were built sort of like in they were one house, but built kind of multi-level because of the incline of the hill. Now, granted, it needed some work, but 90,000 euro is $140,000 to own that property, where you can wake up in the morning, have your frappevaki and its cigarro, and sit there, and you've got a Greek it's a Greek island. Whichever way you want to cut it, it's a Greek island with beautiful waters, gorgeous sun, and so they're not untouchable. The smallest island, yeah, mate. The Zakynthos is one island that I'm really harping on about. Zakynthos has seen a massive growth, and it's so beautiful that everyone probably knows these photos that you see, but they don't know which island it is. And it's still so cheap. Zakynthos is one I really want to go to. Yeah, same. I've actually never been to Zakynthos, and I'm in love with it because of all the photos I've seen, all the freaking stories I've heard, and plus all my friends that have gone to Zakynthos, and I keep seeing all their photos. And I'm like, man, I really need to go. And I was looking at property in Zakynthos again, 48 square meters. No, sorry, 80 square meters, which is a two bedroom, 1 bathroom, living room, like a decent sized apartment on a ground floor for 80,000 euro. And I was like, excuse me? In the heart of the city, in the heart of the town. And granted, again, these things all need a bit of renovation, but the renovation isn't going to sit you. But you're not looking at Australian prices to renovate these things. The only issue with islands, and I spoke about this, where Mykonos went through the floods a couple of months ago. Santorini had an issue with the volcano. I don't know what happened there, but I think it's all right. But let's focus on Mykonos for argument's sake, because it was Mykonos and Paros that got drenched underwater, right? Here's the issue with the islands. You're going to need to rebuild stuff, right? Where are the materials coming from? If it's on a main island like Crete or Cyprus or anything like that, they're coming from Athens, right? Or nearby big islands. Things like Mykonos, and I said this in a previous video, which I'm not really happy. Like, I hate the way that I'm thinking this way, but it's business, right? I wouldn't be surprised if things in Mykonos go up for sale. Not everything, obviously, but I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the people, the locals there, didn't have the money to rebuild the stuff that's water damaged. Because now that it's been water damaged, you need to fix it. You need to spend a lot of money. You think that's coming cheap? That's coming at premium. Because A, it's Mykonos. B, it's right before the tourist season. Secondly, how are you going to get the materials there? Because those ships aren't coming 8 times a day, especially not if it's not peak season. They're coming once a day. And thirdly, labor hire, builders, who are they going to? Are they going to Babadzimi, who's got a little bit of money, or are they going to go to the hotels and the big shops, the Gucci and all that got drowned out and need that money, need those properties fixed immediately, and are happy to spend the money. And also, if you don't have the money, he's going to go off to someone else, triple his price as well, and he's going to get it because it's Mykonos. So that's the only thing with buying on an island that I'm always cautious about is I don't value an island on how accessible it is during summer. You can get to any island in Greece during summer with any. You can take a fucking goat and get to an island during summer. Everyone and everything's going to the islands. What happens in winter? How accessible is it? Does it have an airport? Even if it's a small airport, can you get there? Because shipping routes diminish very quickly. So do flying. So do flights. There'll be one a day, if that. But can you still get there? What islands are neighboring that are big islands? That's where I see that. Okay, this is something I will heavily consider. Good, great. It's stuff that I've always thought about to make your. Now, look, at the end of the day, where there's a will, there's a way. Don't let that information set you off as well. Because, hi, Nikki, you might find your dream home on a small island and be like, stuff it, I don't care. And go for it. I would too. I would, I think it's the right thing to do. Don't let that diminish your thoughts or like set you back or hold you back from buying on an island just because, the catamaran might not go there twice a day in winter. Who cares? So it'll take you a lot longer to build and might cost you a little bit more. At the end of the day, it's still a property on a Greek island for cheap, realistically. When you're paying 1 point something here, I'm in Melbourne, I don't know where you are, but when you're paying 1 point something for not that much, I'm okay to pay a couple of $100,000 to have a Greek property facing an island, facing the waters of an island. Yeah, I'm in Melbourne as well. So there you go. You know exactly what's going on. And we're even not that bad. We're the worst in taxes, Melbourne. But I mean, you go up to Sydney and see the prices there through the roof. Even Adelaide's freaking taken off. So it's still relatively cheap. Now, I've always had these conversations, having a conversation with someone on Insta, maybe 20 minutes ago about this, the taxes and the government's corrupt. And I keep hearing the same old news story. The government's corrupt, the taxes this, the tax that. They once were. We need to get over this. They once were. They're starting to change. There's a reason why there's an €8 billion project going up in Athens, not because the government was corrupt, because that money's coming from somewhere. That money is coming from somewhere. And honestly, even if they had to bribe Greece to get it done, is it really a bad thing to bring all that into? Because they're going to pay taxes, right? Somewhere they're going to pay taxes. And if it's not them, it's the external people that are buying, the expats that are buying, that are going to pay taxes. The materials, where are they coming from? They're not coming from Bulgaria. They're coming from Greece, right? They're coming from Athens. Correct rules and regulations are in place currently in Greece. Yeah, I agree. And look, maybe they're not, right? Because it's Greece. But let's give them a chance. Why are we shutting them down before they've even started anything? There are people living in tents. Yeah, man. Yeah. Have you been to LA? Have you been to parts of Australia? Have you been, there are people living in tents anywhere in the world. I don't understand why is that an issue if it's happening in Greece? Does that mean that Greece can't move forward with currency or with building structures or anything like that? Or I don't understand. Does that mean that it's that there's tent cities everywhere you go? There's a guy living in a tent across the road from me on the beach, and I'm in Middle Park. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There are people living in tents here in Melbourne, but this is the thing. It's the same. People have got this thing inside of them where they're like, no, everything has to be perfect before we can progress as a country. Why? Oh, there's corruption in the government. Where isn't there? I'm sorry. Oh, the unions are corrupt. What about the CFMEU? That's not Greek. People live in tents and go to work and come home to a tent. Yeah, at least they're working. What about the homeless situation? Where are they? Where are you? In which part of Greece? Your name's also Look Video, so I'm wondering if you're just sort of fishing for followers here. But anyway, let's pretend you're not a bot and let's have a conversation. Again, people are living in tents and go to work and come home to a tent. Who are these people? Where are they living? And how many of them are happening? I agree, Nikki. Yeah. But at the end of the day, facts are facts and figures are figures. People might live in tents, but that's their own prerogative, and maybe they didn't. I don't understand how someone can live in tents, have work, and live in a tent, and maybe that's what they want. I know people that live in a freaking combi van and go to work. We are welcome, John, and honestly, feel free to reach out. If I can help anyone, I can help. Peter, so do you have a strategy for the type of property you buy? Thanks, Con. I'm glad someone's enjoying it. Do I have a strategy? Yeah, make more money than it cost me to get it. No, not really. It depends on. Thanks, Sean. You have a good night as well. Also, get in touch with me. I can help you find some stuff, John. We can have a proper chat. It depends on what kind of budget I'm working with at the time. Depends on what's accessible to me and where I'm sort of looking at and whatnot. It could, if I can find an apartment that needs a little bit of renovations, whatever, for a good price, I'll get it. If I find a shop that I can then convert into a studio apartment, I'll get that. If I can find land, I might even get that. So it really depends on what I need. Yeah, this guy's giving a really good impression of Australia, but things are bad. Australia? Dude, we're talking about Greece. What? Okay. Anyway. So that's kind of my strategy. And obviously I look at the market at the time of where I'm buying to see what's sort of happening, what people are looking for, like, is it near a uni? Is it near schools? Is it near this? Is it near that? What's the tourism situation like? What can I do with it? What's sort of been making more money? And then kind of go from there. That's really my strategy. This is essentially, how much money do I have at the time? What am I looking? What am I comfortable to invest in? And what do I want in return? Like my next one, I want to buy a place in Zakynthos, but I want it for me. I don't want to do anything with it. Do you know what I mean? So again, it depends. Depends on the money, and it also depends where it's coming from. Am I pulling out a loan from here? Am I doing it over there? Depends on different strategies. But basically, the strategy that I have is I'm looking to buy stuff and hold on to it. I'm not into the flipping game. I'm not into the short-term rental game. I was thinking about Airbnb, one of the places last year, and the thing that really did my head in is that obviously I wasn't going to be there to change sheets and everything every day. So I was going to hand it over to a team, and I got in touch with them, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you need to apply online." And I said, "What do you mean apply?" They're like, "Oh, we need to give us all the information, give us photos, and then we'll assess it and get back to you if we're interested." And I was like, "I'm not going to beg someone to take my money. I'm doing it on my own." And obviously, I've got people in place there. I now have a team because I've just done it so many times who are taking care of my properties and managing my properties. So, which is why I've started this, because now I can offer that service to people. But simple as that. I mean, that's just my thing, Pete. That's my strategy is obviously just to have stuff, hold on to it, have the money in the bank, and obviously leverage off that and buy some more. Other people want the short-term game. And man, look, there's money to be made with Airbnb. Maybe not in Athens as of October, but there is money to be made with Airbnb. But again, where is it? How much? What do you need to spend? It's not just as simple. And the thing is, I really figured that out the hard way, because I was like, I'm going to turn this one into an Airbnb. Let's do it. Went to IKEA and I dropped like €800 to just deck in this place. They need spoons, forks, knives, towels, chairs, freaking like everything. You need to redeck out our house. My dad, the same thing. He manages his own properties in Greece. He goes every 6 months. Well, that's the same thing. Yeah, I don't go every 6 months. I go every year. But yeah. It's just, I find it easier. But yeah, with Airbnb, you got to deck it out like it's a house. So, and then I was like, and then I ran into that situation. And then also I ran into another situation, which is a blessing in disguise, because I inherited that one. My father passed away last year. So I'm inheriting half of blah, blah, blah. It wasn't legally my name, and I couldn't do it. I mean, you know what? This is too much of a headache. And then once it did get into my name, then I went to an Airbnb management team. They're like, beg for us to take your money. And I went, Parta, I'm out. He needs to do tax every year. I need to do taxes every year as well. I'm a dual citizen. And in fact, according to Greece, I don't even know if they know that I left. But yeah, I pay taxes there as well. So that's about it, really. That's does anyone have any other questions? Or Hi, Cinderella. What part of Greece are you from? I was born in Thessaloniki. I had to think about that. I'm from the heart of Thessaloniki. Well, the heart just outside. It's called Abilokipos. So I was born there in '85. Essentially, we left. Then I went back, did grade 6 there, then left again, and then went back in '05. Got arrested at Athens airport. Got thrown into the army. Fled the army. Don't do that. Believe me, don't do that. And then have been going back and forth ever since. Actually, when I fled the army, I had to remain in the country for a good year. So that's where it all kicked off for me, where I got my afimi, I got my taftorta, I got a job, I became a proper Greek citizen, which was an interesting situation. In fact, the army still, I think, if I do more than 6 months there, I think they can catch me. Capital gains tax in, you're welcome, Pete. Have a good night, my man. Capital gains tax, I think you're a bit confused. Which country, Australia or Greece? Because I was talking about Greece and then you said that I was making Australia sound good. So I don't know. There's capital gains tax in Greece, just like there's capital gains tax everywhere. But the taxing situation isn't that bad in Greece either. I think you pay 3% taxes on your property. And then there's kind of like a municipal tax or whatever it's called, a TAP tax. There is a special tax, but that falls under corporations and entities, which is not me yet. There's inheritance tax as well, which you have to pay. But again, I think that's in the small percentage. It's nothing crazy. They're talking about now, I think they've changed it. I think I read somewhere where they're going to start charging 12%. You pay 12% below 12,000, then it goes up incrementally. But I'm not too sure on that yet. We are talking about Greece completely different to Australia. Yeah, of course it's completely different to Australia. I don't understand what you're saying. Oh, that's you. I'm so confused. But yeah. Greenland. Hi, Greenland. How the hell did you find me? This it's so bizarre that the world can see this. It really blows my mind that the world can see this. Greenland. Hi, man. Olivia, I think. Anyway, Johansson. Wow, Greenland, that blew my mind. Just going through. Brother, stick on by. Cheers to that. I hope you guys are well. We're talking about Greek properties. If you want to buy some, get in touch with me. But that's it for me, guys. I will be dropping more videos in the coming weeks. I'm also preparing some stuff. I got a few PDFs that I want to put up. I'm just preparing them, which I've had a lot of people ask me about. What do I need? What to be ready? What should I? I'm thinking of buying a property in Kalamata. Which is the best place to search? Search Kalamata. Simple as that. Okay, I'm going to go on this tangent. People always ask me, what's the best place? What's the best place? It's whatever you want. There is no real best place. Like, here's the difference, right? This actually, I'm going to tell you this little story. This really made me go, oh, this is what Greeks are like. One day I was saying to my mate in Greece, I was like, let's go to blah, blah for a coffee. And he's like, nah, we're not going there. And I said, why not? Because it's too far. I said, it's 15 minutes away. So that's too far. 15 minutes to them is too far. 15 minutes to you could be a walk to the local cafe. So when you ask a Greek of what the best areas are in Greece, they're going to be like, that's too far, that's this and that. You're buying for you, buy wherever the hell you want. What do you like for the price that you're going to get? Because 15 minutes there is nothing to us. But to them, it's a lifetime, or maybe because they're lazy or whatever. So it really depends on what area you like, whether you want to be near the beach, whether you want to be inland, whatever it is. Just find a place that you like. Make sure that you're not getting screwed up on the price. Make sure that your checks and balances check out. And it depends what you want it for. Do you want it for investment, or do you want it so you can go there and sip your frappe? It really depends. Get in touch with me. I can help you. Vanessa, I'd love to buy in Crete. Yeah, Crete's beautiful. I remember doing Kanye in Heraklion a few years back, and it was amazing. Get in touch with me. Everyone, whoever needs some help, get in touch with me. This is what I do. I help you buy in Greece. I can help you find the properties. I can help you do your checks and balances. I can help organize everything, the whole team, and tell you what you need and blah, blah, blah. But as I was saying before as well, I'm getting ready with some sort of PDFs ready your checklist, buyers check, pre-buyers checklist, pre-sales checklist, management, blah, blah, project management, whatever it is. I'm going to get them ready and provide them to people and just put them up for free, because people constantly ask me this. So I'd much rather be like, here's the PDF. But that's all coming very soon. I will be in Greece in July as well. I am meeting up with a few people there into Saloniki. One person's interested in buying, another person's interested in me project managing their renovations. If you have, do you have an Instagram account, personal one, or for the business one is Buying Greece. The personal one I do. It's Curious Arty. Don't laugh. It goes back. But yeah, business is Buying Grace. Everything is Buying Grace. And also, if you do want to get in touch with me, buyinggrace.com.au or Arthur at buyinggrace.com.au. It's got my number there as well and everything. Whatever you need, reach out, get in touch. I'm more than happy to have a chat and see how I can make that Greek dream home come true. But such a shit tagline. I hate being a salesman. Anyway, I need to finish this off. I'm going to go and enjoy the rest of the night. You guys do as well. Thank you so much. I'll see you again next Sunday. And stay safe and stay warm in this cold. Now I'm going to do this beautiful dance of ending every stream individually. It's beautiful.